Well, hello there. So, you want to get a dog. Probably getting a dog is probably one of the biggest decisions that you've ever made, apart from getting married, buying a house, buying a car, all those kind of things. But having a dog in your house is a complete life changer. It can bring you lots of joy if you get the right dog. Now, if you go out and get the dog that you dream of the most, it might not necessarily be the right dog for you. Now, if you go online, there are plenty of dog finder. Just found a dog. Come on, up you come. No, don't want to come up. I'll leave her down there. There are plenty of dog finder websites out there. These are sites that will give you a quiz and tell you or ask you the questions that will enable you to choose the right dog for you. Now, you might find that the dog that you want isn't suitable because you might have allergies, and this dog might not be that friendly in that respect. You might find that the dog is too much for you, it needs too much exercise for you. So go to these websites and have a look and answer the questions truthfully. We did that with our Boston, and we've now got a second Boston because they're just so much fun. But a Boston might not necessarily be right for you. Now, we live in a relatively small house. We've got a relatively small patch of garden, but it's enclosed and it's safe, and the dog can run around without any fear of it nipping through the fence to next door. So, what I would recommend is that you speak to a few owners before you make that big decision and getting a dog in your life. Now, I'm going to talk about my dog, Daisy. She's a Boston Terrier, pedigree, not that cheap to be honest, and they are a big investment and they are a big worry. Now, Bostons have got particularly small, short bodies. They've got short snouts and they do tend to swallow a lot of air. That air has to come out somewhere, and it normally comes out of its backside, and they stink sometimes. The Boston Terriers will smell bad. Tell you now. But on the plus side, they're small. They're light. You can pick them up, put them on your arm, and carry them for a couple of miles if you have to. You do hear stories of people whose dogs break a leg or have a fall or do something, and you have to carry the dog back for miles, and you don't want that. That would be too much for you, really. I think the dog, our little Boston, doesn't need that much exercise. It will run around the house quite happily. It will run up and down the garden quite happily, burning off the energy, and it will also go on long walks as well. We're talking 3 or 4 miles, but they might get a little bit tired. One of the things you've got to watch out for as well is it able to tolerate hot and cold temperatures? Now, if you bought a Husky, they like cold temperatures, whereas if you bought a Boston Terrier, it doesn't like either hot or cold, so you might have to buy a coat. One of the other things about a Boston is they are very, very hard to house train. They are they just wee and poo everywhere. Now we've got a female dog, at least it won't be cocking its leg up against everything like our little Boston did before. It was a male dog. So our little Daisy, lovely little female, but not house trained yet. So that's the next step, is to house train, and of course lead train as well. Get her used to the lead, and the most important thing that you can have if you're going to train a dog is the recall. Make sure that the dog can come back to you. Now, we used to have, for our other Boston Terrier, because they don't come back to you when you call them, they're just too distracted. They're off. They're like some kind of child with learning difficulties. They will focus and they'll go. So one of the things that we did buy was an electric shock collar. Now, it's not that bad, isn't it? It's not as bad as it sounds. The shock came from a vibration, much like your phone will vibrate in your hand when you get a phone call and the phone buzzes. That's exactly what the shock collar does. It emits a sound. If it doesn't, if the recall doesn't happen on the sound, you can then give it a buzz, and the collar will vibrate gently, and doesn't hurt the dog whatsoever. It's just a change of hang about what's going on here, kind of thing, and the dog will respond. Now we found that very good for the dog. One of the things as well about owning a dog is not only will you have to potty train it, you're going to have to train it to go without you for a bit. So you don't want separation anxiety. One of the other things is the kennel training. We've got a small cage that we're trying to get the dog into so that we can leave it in the kitchen in a cage without having to worry about it. That's what the experts say. It's to train it to withhold its wee and poo until you come down in the morning. So we're going to try that, see if that works with the Boston, but not holding out much luck. But yep. So having said all these things, a dog is great company, and you won't regret it one bit. One of the other things about being a dog owner is getting the right vet as well. Now, the legislation in the UK is now capped. Sorry, the dog's kicking the tripod. They've now capped prescription prices to £21 an item. So that means that your vet's going to charge you 21 quid no matter what it is, whether it's a £2 paracetamol or let's get you up here because you're flapping about too much. There we go. Right. So yeah. So we've been looking around for a vet. So we're going to go back to the vet that we had before. The thing that I don't like is all these vaccines that they have. I know probably best to have them, but it's you never know, especially after COVID. But anyway, so when you buy a puppy, you have to make sure that it has its first vaccine before it comes out, and then when you take it home, you're going to have to look after it in the house until it's had its second set of vaccines, and then probably wait a week to 10 days after that before you can take it out into the wide world. Now, like I say, we'll probably take it down to the beach, take Daisy down to the beach and let her have a run, but we have to make sure that she will come back on a recall. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of weeks, is to be training her for recall, to get her to come to me. I'm going to have a bag of treats in my pocket, and she's going to be coming straight back to me. So the minute she comes back to me, just on the lead alone, just by calling her name, she should come back. If that happens, then I'll be quite happy to let her off the lead and run around. Of course, on the beaches, this time of year, there's not that many people around, to be honest, especially where we're planning to go. But on the downside, because it is a holiday area, some of the beaches are dog free, so you're not allowed between April and I think September. So it's at the end of May until September, you're not allowed to have your dog on the beach. So just be aware of that. And the other thing as well is, if you're in a public park, keep your dog on the lead. There's probably site rules. Make sure, that's the other thing, you make sure that you follow all the site rules. If you go to a dog park and they say keep the dog on the lead, at least do that. Keep the dog on the lead. Now, if you're out walking the dog and you've got a long lead, the dog's not controlled. The dog will go where it wants to go. So if you're on a shared path, like a cycle path or footpath, and there's other pedestrians or cyclists, make sure the dog's on a short lead. Listen out for a bell. Stay to your side of the shared path. And it's all about being a good owner as well. And of course, you've got to clean up after yourself. It's all right if you're in the middle of the countryside and you're on some footpath in a deserted Yorkshire, countryside, and your dog leaves a poo on the grass. Just flick it into the woods if off the path. If there's like a metalled path, concrete or cement or whatever, pavestones, just move the poo into the grass. Done with it. But if you're in a street, make sure you've got a poo bag, or else you will get fined. So there's a lot of things to do. One of the other things that you have to do is, when you get your first dog, is to make sure it's microchipped as well. We've had ours microchipped, but we haven't transferred over the original owners. So when we go for the vaccine in a couple of days' time, well, a week, 7th of April we're going. So we're going to get the vet to change over the ownership of that particular code for the chip, aren't we? So I don't know where the chip is. It'll be in her neck somewhere. So that's the most important thing. Anyway, so that's about it then. All right. So just to recap and go over everything. Do your research. Have a word with a couple of other owners, and make sure that the dog will fit your lifestyle. Some of these Springer Spaniels and things like this are absolutely mental, and they'll go ballistic. The sheep herding dogs, they will go ballistic if they don't get any exercise to burn their energy off. They will be a bit loopy in the house. So just be warned about the activity levels that you need. Now, some dogs molt, some dogs don't. Ours doesn't molt, so we're lucky. But other dogs will shed their hair. That's another thing you've got to worry about as well. But best of all, really, is to make sure that you can give it a good, loving home. Don't leave it in the garden, because they will get separation anxiety if they're left out in the garden. You know, most puppies are brought up in a home environment, so they're used to that. So you hear, especially around here, you hear the dogs barking all the time because they've been left out in the garden. 9 times out of the 10, the RSPCA will come along and take them away because they're not being looked after. It's this time of year. It is cold in the garden, so and especially a short-haired dog like a Boston, they won't tolerate the cold. So you probably need to get them a coat during the winter. So anyway, rambled on. If you've enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up. You can like it and share it if you want. And of course you can subscribe, because subscription is free, and I'm going to be doing a lot more videos about the dog, and we're going to do some active videos. We're going to put a harness on her, so we're going to have a teeny tiny camera. It's probably no bigger than my thumb, and we'll have that on a little harness on her back, and she'll be running around, won't you? Anyway, so we're going to say goodbye, and Daisy here, she's going to say goodbye too. Bye then.